Signs of female infidelity that she will never be able to hide, no matter how hard she tries or how much she wants to. Today, we will analyze these shocking signs. For some of you, previously I recorded a video about signs of female infidelity. It had many points, but mostly behavioral ones. How a woman changes, how her image changes, how her clothing changes. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. But today, we will talk about other signs, the ones she is powerless to hide and almost impossible to influence. I will start with the lighter, simpler signs, and then move on to the toughest ones. These things were told to me by men during consultations. These are not fantasies. I have been piecing them together for years, and today I am sharing this information with you. Watch until the end. I am sure you will be surprised. The easiest sign number 1, sudden weight loss of your woman. She could have lost weight because she deliberately went to the gym, went on a diet, wanted to look more attractive for her lover, to get in shape. But there is another important factor why she could have slimmed down sharply, because of an active, intimate life. Yes, she started being very active in this. Some women meet with a lover every day or several times a week. It would seem a forgotten story about physical activity, and here it is again, actively and tightly returning to your lady's life. Perhaps you no longer have intimacy with her, or it has become rare, or it has become a formality, boring, without a spark. Intimacy with a lover is a completely different matter. There, she puts in effort, fantasizes, gives her all. That means wet sheets. That means damp clothes. And this will make her lose weight. Pay attention to this. They, women, have a saying. You look at one woman, she used to be plump and now she has slimmed down and become more attractive. And of course, they whisper amongst themselves, yes, intimacy has appeared. Closeness has returned to her life. The next sign number 2, friends, is all kinds of marks on your woman's body. Bruises, hickeys, fingerprints. A story from one client. A woman returned from a business trip, and on her thigh there was a clear handprint. All 5 fingers left such an imprint that there were no questions left. This is what you need to pay attention to. Most often, passion shows itself on intimate areas, thighs, breasts, neck. Whether you like it or not, in the heat of closeness, marks remain. And you need to understand, intimacy with a lover is not that formal, boring closeness that may be at home with you. It's different there. Passion, excitement, no restraints. They might not hold back. Yes, most often women leave scratches on a man's back, but sometimes it's the opposite. A man with slightly grown nails can dig into her buttocks so that the marks speak for themselves. And do not forget, lovers can be caught up in passion anywhere, in a hotel, an apartment, at work, in a storage room, even in a restroom. Awkward positions, limited space, all this only increases the likelihood of strange-shaped bruises appearing on her body, in unexpected places. And here's the thing, she will never be able to explain such marks. Well, tell me, how can you accidentally hit yourself so that a full handprint remains on your thigh? Or where do sudden pinpoint bruises on the inner surface of the thigh come from? It is impossible to explain them with everyday reasons. And it is precisely these little things that reveal infidelity more brightly than any words.
Let's move on to the more interesting signs of infidelity. This is sign number 3, changes in a woman's intimate behavior. The fact that she refuses intimacy with you is too trivial. We have already discussed this. Much more interesting is another thing. If suddenly your woman becomes excessively active and starts showing sophisticated fantasies, this is a reason to think seriously. Suppose your intimacy used to be boring, monotonous, and then suddenly, bam, she introduces some innovations. That means he's teaching her, and she's already applying it to you. It often happens that, especially at the very beginning, when a woman is fascinated by her lover, she constantly thinks about him. Even when she is at home next to you, she is still in an aroused state. Let me tell you a story from one client. His wife had a lover. She admitted herself that she had been in a state of excitement for a long time. They could only meet once or twice a week, but all the rest of the time she was in euphoria, thinking about him, remembering their crazy, wild passion. She had been with her husband for a long time, and intimacy was modest, boring. As they say, you could even leave your shirt on. She admits, I go to bed, I fantasize. I wake up, I fantasize again. My husband walks by and I'm already so aroused that I grab him. Come here, I need intimacy. The husband, of course, attributes it to himself, like, I'm so great, so cool that my wife is rushing to me like this. But friends, how can this be a compliment to him if she doesn't spend time with him, if there's no real contact between them, if she's constantly trying to run away from home? Clearly, the reason is not that he is a mega lover. The next sign, number 4, and here's a story from a client. He says, I start intimacy with her and realize that literally recently she was with another man. What's this about? He explains, her vagina hasn't had time to contract. It is elongated and widened. The vagina is a muscular sac that gradually returns to its shape after intimacy, but this takes time. And here's what happens. She has just been in bed with her lover, comes home an hour or two, and has no desire left. The man starts and immediately realizes, client's quote, it feels like entering a bucket. This also includes another thing, enlarged clitoris, swollen labia, because during arousal, blood flows to the pelvic organs, everything swells. And on top of that, the vagina, which hasn't had time to return to its original state. The next sign, number 5, friends, is connected to changes in microflora. I'll say it directly. A woman develops thrush. She starts sleeping with a new man, and he brings his own microflora. This is inevitable. The body reacts. The result is thrush. Curd-like white discharge, a sour smell, itching, burning, discomfort. Sometimes it's not only the new flora, but also the supplies, condoms, fragrances, lubricants, even reactions to latex. Most often it still looks like a microflora imbalance, but it's important to track the connection. I also include another story here, not thrush, but the same microflora changes leading to cystitis. She starts sleeping with a new man and gets cystitis. Her own flora changes, plus cystitis is easily contracted when, during intimate pleasures, the man performs cunnilingus and introduces an infection this way. If your woman is healthy, never suffered from this, and suddenly all this appears, especially along with other signs of possible infidelity, this is a reason to think.
Also, friends, a very important sign number 6 is a change in smell, specifically the intimate smell of your woman. Many men react to this very sharply because they're already used to her natural aroma. I'm not talking now about something radiating from her a mile away. No, it's just that she starts sleeping with another man, and even if she doesn't have thrush, no discharge, the smell itself changes. Why? It's simple. The flora changes. She got used to you, lived with you, slept only with you. Her flora adjusted to you, and the smell was accordingly familiar. And now it's different. Many men are very sensitive in such matters, and the first thing they notice is precisely this change. I'll tell you honestly, this is a subtle but very important prognostic sign. If the smell suddenly becomes different, there is a reason to think about your woman's fidelity. And now let's move on to the signs that she definitely will not be able to hide. They are much tougher. And here I refer to sign number 7, venereal diseases. Here I honestly don't even know how a woman can hide this. Of course, she might try to impose a quarantine, say something like, I don't want to, I can't, it's not the right time. She may get treated, try to conceal it, but hiding this for long is almost impossible. Many men shared, you sleep next to her, move the blanket a bit, and you can already sense that specific smell. And you understand, this smell is accompanied by discharge, discomfort, burning, and other symptoms. And don't forget another point. There appeared to be some suppositories, procedures. The woman starts to seclude herself in the bathroom, in the toilet, plus trips to doctors. All this is very easy to notice. And the scariest part, she can infect you. And here, there is no need to look for excuses like, well, maybe she washed herself at the bathhouse and wiped off with the wrong towel. No, friends. If a venereal infection appeared, this is 100% the result of contact with another man. The next sign, number 8, friends, smoothly follows from the previous one. The woman starts visiting gynecologists actively. And not just one, she goes to several, doctor hopping. Normally, for a healthy woman, preventative checkups once every 6 months are enough. If your woman is healthy, you have never noticed this before, and now suddenly there are constant visits, prescriptions, pills in incredible quantities. It's time to pay attention and ask questions. Where is she constantly going? Where is she making appointments? And what medications is she taking exactly? The next sign, number 9, comes from a story of one client. The man says, "I didn't even know what pills my woman was taking, what suppositories she was using. In the fridge, a whole scatter of suppositories, some medications. She mumbles some dysbacteriosis, something else. We supposedly have a moratorium, row intimacy." At some point it clicked for him. He reached for his own pills, accidentally took her package, and started reading the instructions. And they're a whole bouquet which is exactly treated for certain diagnoses. That's how he figured her out. Friends, pay attention to what is being bought, what is stored in cabinets, and why. And ask direct questions. Why did you suddenly start running to women's doctors? Why does a woman run to gynecologists and other doctors? The standard options: thrush, vaginitis, bacterial vaginosis. I'll say right away, your woman doesn't necessarily have to cheat for her microflora to change. If there are no other signs of infidelity, don't overthink it. Hypothermia, hygiene issues, it happens. But if these visits happen alongside all other alarming markers, that's a reason to think. Another reason? The need to take swabs if venereal disease is suspected. If the diagnosis is confirmed, she will go to a dermatovenerologic clinic, and if it's serious, she will be registered. Here begins the most unpleasant part. As a rule, they contact all participants, the lover, the husband, all sexual partners. This is epidemiological surveillance, and it is taken seriously.
The next sign, number 10, and I'll start with a question for you. Why else might she be going to doctors and gynecologists? Here it's already tough. Let me tell you a case shared by a client. A woman started actively running to doctors. Then, for a month, "I'm sick, I caught a cold, not up to it." The man accidentally finds out she had an abortion. And the abortion, not from him, because during that period he was on a business trip. After an abortion, no matter which type, medical termination in early stages, vacuum aspiration, or curettage, in any case, there will be bloody discharge. Everything heals, inflammation is possible, the woman is prescribed medications, antibiotics, sometimes hormones, and of course, sexual abstinence for 2 weeks or even longer. I'll say separately, I have deep knowledge here. I worked in gynecology during my training at medical school, so I know how this looks in practice: treatment regimens, recovery times, patient behavior. If you see such a set of signs together, medications, suppositories, frequent visits, quarantine, strange explanations, do not ignore it. This is not the case where everything will resolve itself. Friends, we move on to sign number 11, which, believe me, is impossible to hide. Imagine you come home and the woman tells you, "We need to use protection," and pulls out a pack of condoms. That's it. You can safely assume she's cheating on you. And what could it be about? The standard options: vaginitis, bacterial vaginosis, or a venereal infection. And the usual excuses begin: "Oh, I have thrush," or some other excuse. But friends, that's not the point. Up until now, everything was fine. She slept with you calmly, without protection, and suddenly there appears a fear of your flora. And this fear is not for nothing. Either she's afraid of infecting you, or on the contrary, of catching something from you after her adventures. Another clear sign, number 12, friends, which is almost impossible to hide, is damage to the mucous membrane. A woman may come home complaining of pain, dryness, unpleasant sensations in the vagina. Why? Because intimacy with a lover is often rougher, more intense than familiar family intimacy. And here we are not only talking about bruises or scratches on the outside, but micro cracks inside. Such damage causes a burning sensation, pain during urination, and may be accompanied by pink or bright red discharge. From practice, one man said that his wife literally jumped from pain when he entered her during intimacy. Then she had bloody discharge, and she excused herself, "Oh, it's my period starting." But he put 2 and 2 together. Her period had just ended. No cycle could have started. It turned out to be banal microtraumas after passionate intimacy with a lover. The next sign, number 13, friends, is menstrual cycle disruption. This is also an extremely telling thing. Stress from a double life, constant hormonal swings, as well as frequent sexual contact with a new partner lead to the cycle slipping. Menstruation becomes irregular, too heavy, or on the contrary, scanty. Sometimes there is bleeding from nowhere. And note, if previously your woman's cycle was like clockwork and suddenly strange shifts began, this is no coincidence. This is either a hormonal failure or the consequences of interventions. For example, that same abortion I mentioned above. And another sign, number 14, friends, very harsh but important, is the smell from the mouth and skin after passionate intimacy. Many men note, after meeting with a lover, the woman comes home and there is a distinctive smell emanating from her. This is not perfume, not cosmetics, but exactly that trace of intimacy, a mixture of sweat, seminal fluid, lubricant, secretions. A woman can wash as much as she likes, but the subtle smell remains on the skin, hair, breath, especially if the contact was recent, and any man who has lived with her for years will notice this foreign smell.
Next is sign number 15, changes in the breasts. If a woman has started an active sex life with a lover, the breasts respond. They become more sensitive, often slightly swollen, the nipples darken, or there may be small discharges from them. Normally, this is associated either with pregnancy or with hormonal changes. But when all this coincides with other signs of infidelity, you can no longer explain such changes by everyday reasons. One man during a consultation said, "My wife came back after a meeting, her breasts were hot, her nipples inflamed. I ask, what happened? She says, the underwear is rubbing. But we both understand the underwear is the same." Now, sign number 16, the skin in the intimate area. Pay attention to rashes or irritation in the intimate area and on the inner thighs. Frequent partner changes or new condoms or lubricants can cause contact dermatitis. In addition, there may be allergic reactions, red spots, rashes, itching. The woman will try to hide this, explaining it as a new cream or laundry detergent. But a man who looks closely can see the changes didn't appear by chance and are clearly connected to her sex life. Sign number 17, hair and skin smell. This is a subtle point, but very telling. After intense intimacy, a woman's skin odor changes. It becomes sharper due to the active work of sweat and sebaceous glands. In addition, the hair on her head and in the pubic area begins to smell different, absorbing someone else's scent. Even if she washes, an attentive man still has the feeling that this is not her scent. This is exactly what clients talk about. Before, my wife always smelled the same, and now she comes back and the smell is different, not mine. And of course, the harshest and final sign for today, number 18, which cannot be hidden, is pregnancy not from the husband. No comments needed here. If the man, for example, has been away for a long time and the woman announces pregnancy a couple of months later, there are no more questions. And believe me, such stories happen more often than it seems. And I will end with a very sad story that happened to one man, my client. He returned home from a business trip, and his woman said, "We need to use protection." To the direct question, why, she answered, "Because I got infected with HIV. Such is, friends, this tragic story. Life, of course, is different, and all sorts of things happen in it. But I sincerely hope that none of you will ever face anything like this. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you a life without infidelity and without betrayal. Thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed to the channel. What do you think about this? Write in the comments, and see you in the next video.